So Taylor Swift, we're talking Taylor Swift again. I see good old TS has been named the first global record store day ambassador. I know this has really kind of split the vinyl community, but I gotta say, I think this was actually a good move. Now, before you give me that thumbs down, hear me out.
Channel 33 RPM.
All right, so a record store day made this announcement. Taylor Swift is going to be the record store day ambassador this April. And I gotta say, reading Taylor Swift's statement, she said all the right things. Check this out. She says, "I'm very proud to be this year's global ambassador for a record store day. The places where we go to browse and explore and discover music new and old have always been sacred to me. Record stores are so important because they help to perpetuate and foster music loving as a passion." She goes on to say, they, being music stores, employ people who adore music thoroughly and purely. Those people and shops have had a rough few years, and we need to support these small businesses more now than ever before to make sure they can stay alive, stay eccentric, and stay individual. As I said, Taylor said all the right things here. I mean, whether she actually said this or more likely her publicist wrote this, at least I hope it's a reflection of where she comes from. I mean, the one part that kind of jumped out on me when she's talking about independent record stores and says that they hope they stay alive, stay eccentric, and stay individual. Taylor Swift is one of the biggest selling artists of these times, so there's nothing eccentric about her, and you know, it's hard to say a global multi-platinum artist by digging her. You're staying individual. It's kind of the opposite of that, but that's cool. Taylor Swift, from what I understand, has been quite supportive of independent record stores. In 2020, when pandemic lockdowns were endangering the futures of small businesses, she sent out a whole bunch of signed copies of her albums to specific stores so they could sell them and, you know, generate some more income, which was pretty cool. And there's this one music store in the southern US called Grimey's New and Pre-Loved Music. When all that COVID, I think it's in Tennessee, but when all that COVID stuff was happening in that record store and other problems as well, she actually covered 3 months worth of health care costs for each of their employees. So it's hard, you know, I'm reading comments of people saying that Taylor Swift doesn't care about independent record stores or this and that. I mean, judging someone by their actions, she certainly does care for them, or members of her team definitely do. In terms of her being the record store day ambassador, this is really quite the coup for record store day. I mean, she's one of the biggest pop stars out there today, you know, along with Adele and a handful of others. So to get someone of her caliber to do this and to promote RSD and in turn independent record stores, I think can only be a good thing. I mean, this is a great way to get young people revved up and interested in records and vinyl. I mean, many Taylor Swift fans have never heard of Record Store Day. Many Taylor Swift fans have never been inside an independent record store. So correct me if I'm wrong, the whole mission of Record Store Day was to draw attention to independent record stores and get more people in there and get new people in there. Well, this is a whole new demographic who is going to be learning about vinyl and about independent record stores. So I've said this before, without young people getting into this hobby, this dies when we die. I'm a 48-year-old man. I've been buying records since I was a kid. We don't need more of me. We need more people like my kids. We need more young people going into these stores, getting excited about owning records and about owning tangible products, because that is what it's really all about. The other thing is, let's put this all in perspective. Some people are all upset because a mega star is the Record Store Day ambassador, the global ambassador. There have been plenty of high profile ambassadors in recent years who have shown less passion for independent record stores. I mean, look at the list. Ozzy Osbourne was a previous Record Store Day ambassador. As much as I love Ozzy, I don't recall him doing anything to promote independent record stores. You know, and I get it too. It's like we've had this club, this record collectors club, where we're very protective of it, right? And having someone of Taylor Swift's caliber, Taylor Swift's profile, and her fans coming in on board is kind of like, whoa, what are you guys doing here? Anyway, let's check out some comments. I want to react to some comments people have left because I asked about this on Facebook and on the YouTube community tab in terms of what do you guys think about Taylor Swift becoming the Record Store Day Global Ambassador. So here's one comment from Shad, and Shad said, I feel like Record Store Day has jumped the shark. If it hasn't jumped the shark, it has certainly evolved. As I just said, it doesn't look anything today like it did 10 years ago. I think Record Store Day is probably bigger now than it ever was before, but I get it. Okay, Walt Brown on Facebook, on the Channel 33 RPM Facebook page, wrote, more demand in the short term will mean higher prices. Yes, it could. I mean, high demand, low supply, prices go up. Boom. You've seen that before, right? But long term, it'll mean more pressings, more options, etc. Absolutely. I hope that's what happens anyway, right? Like more demand, someone's going to meet that demand and hopefully start pressing more records. Walt also said, hope it also means standards and quality improve, but we shall see. If nothing else, it should be a boon for the platform. Here is hoping. Dean, this is interesting. He copied the top 10 selling vinyl albums of 2021 in the US. And these are all pop artists that appeal to a younger demographic, right? It's not the Kisses and the Led Zeppelins and the Black Sabbaths and the Judas Priests that I love. I mean, things are changing. Number one selling artist of 2021 on vinyl was Adele, Olivia Rodrigo, Taylor Swift, Harry Styles, Billie Eilish. Things are changing. Okay, on the YouTube page, Stephen Smith wrote, again, referring to the Taylor Swift move, he says, probably a very good move for Record Store Day sales and another step in the wrong direction for RSD enthusiasts. I get it. Things are changing and it's, as I said, it's very different. Stephen writes, is it just me or does each and every Record Store Day now seem to be more disconnected from the original intent? That's a good question. It depends on what the original intent was. If the original intent was to promote independent artists, yes, it is moving away from that. If the original intent was to promote independent record stores, then it hasn't moved away from that because this is going to bring more people into those stores. Here's an interesting comment from the One-Eyed Undertaker. He says, more people into record stores? No, not a good thing anymore. That was the idea 10 years ago when we wanted to bring vinyl back to life, but today, forget about it. Pressing plants can't keep up, pressing quality has taken a turn for the worse, and prices have skyrocketed. Currently, we need less people in record stores. I try to look at it as cup half full rather than cup half empty, but certainly there have been a lot of problems, as I said, with demand, and the pandemic has caused all sorts of supply chain issues, and in many ways, it has been the perfect storm for rising costs. What will the end result be of this and further demand? I don't know, but I'm hoping in the long run it is good for all of us. All right, 33rd, that is my take on Taylor Swift being the Global Record Store Day Ambassador. Let me know what you thought or think in the comments below. If you dug today's episode, I would appreciate a quick thumbs up. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Until next time, keep on spinning.